Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DoubleClutch.ca podcast. I'm your host, Nick, managing editor of DoubleClutch.ca, and I'm joined in our mobile studio with Nathan, because we have construction going on at the office today.
Yeah, it's a little loud, so we're out in Nick's press car to do this podcast, and it's very quiet. Why don't you tell us about what we're sitting in here, Nick?
So, this week's mobile podcasting studio is the 2025 Kia EV9. It's a big electric school bus.
It's a nice bus.
It's the only, as far as I know, it's the only electric school bus on the market. And by electric school bus, I mean electric three-row SUV.
Three-row, yeah. I think it still is. Like, I was on the launch for this last year, and I really liked it then.
Yep.
It's still nice. This thing is, like, kind of great.
It is. Actually, let me preface that. This is the only mainstream electric school bus, because we have the Volvo EX90 coming.
Yes.
But that's obviously electric product.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is actually quite nice.
Yeah, they did their homework on this. I think, like, Hyundai Kia, that whole group is like, we've talked about this before, like, their shit is very, like, firmly compacted.
Yep.
And together.
Yes.
Like, approaching a singularity. Like, the amount that they can offer and the way that they put their cars together and the attention to detail with cabin design, exterior design, and how everything feels like it punches way out of its weight class. Mm-hmm. They're really good at this. So this is the mid-level, you said?
Yes.
Okay, little knock. The way they've set up the naming convention for this,
it's very confusing.
It's kind of dumb. I think I get what they're going for. I just don't like it.
So basically, with the EV9, think of everything you know about how Kia structures their trim levels normally, like LX, EX, GT line.
Yeah.
And forget about all that.
Except GT line.
Forget about everything else. So, the EV9 starts with three basic flavors. You have the land, wind, and air. Air being the... Wait, is it the... God damn it.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Incredibly confusing. Okay, I'm pulling this up right now. So, base is the light.
Yeah, light, land, air, wind.
Yes. Light, wind, land.
So land is top.
Correct.
Oh, so we're in a land, top one.
So we're in a land.
I thought we were in the mid one this whole time. This is so stupid.
But we're in the land with the plus package, so we're in the mid-top one.
Mid-top. And I think the GT line is still top, right?
Top, yeah.
Yeah. So the naming convention is kind of like drunken on drugs. But
very confusing.
Other than that, it's quite nice. How many monies is this thing?
So
how much does it cost to purchase some land?
So to purchase some land, in this particular, in this exact configuration, you are looking at $69,995 plus another $250 for the fancy red paint, which is very nice.
The red is really nice.
All told, just over $70,000 before destination taxes, all
this
that.
This thing is
stuff.
$70,000?
Yes.
Shit. That's really good.
Yeah.
Because the Volvos we just had, that I have and you just had, are $10,000 more.
Yes. And I was going to tie this in with the Aria as well, which is still fresh in my mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
so
God.
let's stay focused on this.
Yes.
Okay. So you had you've been griping about this cabin for most of the week because you like the layout. We agree the layout is very good.
I like the layout.
You don't like the 50 Shades of Grey.
I'm going to get into it. I like the layout. I like the materials. Everything looks good. Everything feels good. I don't like the color scheme. This light gray that they have going on the door panels, the dashboard, to me, it cheapens the look because it really reminds me of Rush's K4, which he had last week. And that was like a $27,000, $28,000 compact sedan.
That's fair.
To me, in my opinion.
That's fair.
But like everything else, though, it's like fit and finish, the choices of their materials, everything is spot on, except for the color. But to me, that's a personal gripe.
That's valid. I mean, if I were to counter, I would say that, like, so when you said light gray, I thought, like, light gray. Like, basically a dark white. This is like a medium gray, which you don't actually see often. And it's kind of, it's interesting for me, because when I was on the launch, I think all of ours were black, with, like, two-tone black and white.
Yep.
A lot of the, like, the steering wheel surround trim, the buttons, like, door panel trim, like, a lot of this is, like, the glossy shit that we see in cars and don't usually love on touch points, but it's gray here, and it's just, like, the same kind of, like, medium battleship gray that's very in.
Yeah.
Instead of being black. I kind of like it. I don't hate it. I don't know, some contrast might be nice, because it is so gray. Everything is medium gray.
Yes.
But beyond that, like, I really like what they did with the headliner, this, like, jersey cloth-ish material, and it's all, from what I recall, it's all, like, recycled, sustainable type stuff. They got the same insert on the dash.
On the door pockets here too.
Yeah,
they have some nice, like, metal trim here on the speaker grills, spanning, like, going.
You know what? Okay, here. You know what? Looking around, you are right. I think this would be better if it were lighter or darker or had some more contrast
or warmer.
Yeah,
like a warmer. Maybe a two-tone.
Yeah.
This like medium gray with a beige two-tone.
Yeah.
Or like black with a beige two-tone.
I think this gray is like peak inoffensive.
Yes.
But so, like, I don't hate it, but, like, I would prefer literally anything else.
Yeah.
But it's not bad. It looks classy.
The rest of the cabin is very nice. Super roomy because this is electric. It obviously doesn't have a transmission tunnel, so we have like a lot of good storage here.
Yeah, the second and third row is big. Like, the second row is huge. The third row is actually usable by adults, which is not a given in a lot of these things. The third row is usually just, like, half decorative or for kids you don't like.
Yep.
So it's actually, like, a usable shuttle for adults. What's the range on this thing?
The range on this thing, Kia quotes 451 kilometers. This is the basically the land means dual motor, all-wheel drive, and big battery.
Right.
So you're at 451 kilometers quoted.
Okay.
379 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque.
Not bad.
So I started off with, of course, I also chose the freaking coldest day of the year to sample this electric car.
Yep.
So start off with 399 kilometers yesterday. And to be fair, we did mild this up quite a bit. This has kind of become the unofficial errand runner around the office this week.
Yep.
So we are at 184 kilometers.
Yeah.
And we only covered 119.3 since the reset.
Mm-hmm.
So started off with 399 yesterday. We did call it 120, and now the estimated range we have left is 184 clicks.
Yeah. I mean, it was I think it was a 210 before I warmed it up for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, you can't hear this over the radio, but it is cold. It is like minus teens cold outside. It is cold.
Yep.
And Mom, EVs struggle a lot, like a lot in cold temperatures, because a lot of energy gets lost just because batteries become way less efficient, and so much energy has to be expended to keeping the battery warm. This kind of becomes a vicious cycle. Like, these things do not do well in the cold. Like, and in my Volvo, I got the same message every time I fire it up. Like, range will be diminished due to low ambient temperature.
And we're going to get into that later with our Volvos, because I have thoughts on those.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the EV9. This thing's fast.
It moves pretty well for a bus. It moves pretty well.
Yeah, 516 pound-feet of torque does that in a three-row SUV.
Yeah.
It's very comfortable.
Yeah, it's comfy. It's very quiet. Like, we talk about podcasting from a car a few times, and we're actually really choosy about when we do it.
Yep.
And we need something with, like, very low noise floor, very good insulation. This is that.
Yep. Last one we did it in was the Forester, which was very quiet.
Yeah.
But this is like next level.
Yeah.
If I'm alone in here, driving with the radio off, I am basically alone with my thoughts, and that's a scary place to be sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that quiet.
Yeah. Like Hyundai Kia is very good about like, okay, what are the things that people perceive as refinement?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Lack of noise,
and like nice touch points.
Yep.
And that's what they always hit. They're always really good about hitting that, so that where like they can deliver a car that may look or feel like if you know what you're looking for, you can find cost cutting.
Mm-hmm.
You can track it down, and then sometimes it's not even very well hidden, but you have to know to look for it. And most people won't see it because the main things they perceive on, the way the powertrain feels, the amount of noise it does or doesn't make, the things you actually touch, the regular touch points like your door handle, like your steering wheel, those feel nice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
This is a lot of vehicle for 70 grand.
It is.
Like,
it is.
Holy shit.
And one thing, back on the cold weather, the cold weather thing and how that affects what you get out of it in terms of range. I find Hyundai and Kia, more than most, are perhaps the most accurate out there.
With regards to like range estimates
estimating
and stuff.
range.
I'd say like Hyundai, Kia, and Mercedes is really good about it.
Mercedes is really good. Yeah. Yes, you're right.
I like that with them. Like if you turn on your heated seat, you'll lose 12 kilometers instantly. Like like you've just lost that.
Yep.
And actually, with this, I just noticed they're doing the same thing. I don't know who did it first, but they're doing the same thing I've seen in some Mercedes EVs, where it'll show like estimated range right now based on your current usage patterns, the minimum worst case scenario if you're a complete asshole with it, and the maximum best case scenario
if you're not an asshole with it.
Yeah, if you like turn all the heat off and like your baby and put it in like gentle mode, whatever. Like, so I like that they show you that range. Okay, you have 184, but if you really needed, you could get more out of it.
Or at the same time, if you turn off your heated seats, heated steering wheel, climate control, and flip it into eco mode, you can do like up to right now it's saying 280.
Yeah.
Which that will be properly miserable considering how cold it is outside.
Yeah. But it shows you, okay, this is your ceiling. Like your real ceiling, your real floor, and like where you actually are.
Yep.
Yeah, they're really good about that. I actually, outside of color or lack thereof, I struggled to find fault with this thing.
Yeah.
Except for, and the Kia K4 we had last week did the same thing.
Yep.
Their volume control, it's a barrel.
Yes.
That's like kind of awkward to reach, and you have to do it very delicately because if you press it, you'll mute your audio.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not hard to like, I'll just flip it up and actually just turn it off.
I find so.
Why couldn't that be a knob?
Yeah. So that sort of ties into a couple of very, very, very minor nitpicks I have with this thing. By and large, Hyundai Kia Genesis, they rarely miss on ergonomics. Mm-hmm. But I noticed with this thing, there are a couple of things that like I was kind of taken aback by. The volume knob doesn't really bother me that much because it's still an actual physical control that you interact with.
Yeah.
I would agree it probably would be better if they stuffed it on the center console here, like just before the
because you got to reach over, holders. And in that reach, you're probably going to shut it off.
Yeah. Versus you have the biometric scanner here for your fingerprint to load whatever drive modes you have.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they just flip those around, so like have the volume knob here and the fingerprint reader here.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Probably
to reach over to turn, because that acts as like the lock for the car, right?
I thought
or it brings up different profiles or something.
I'm 90% sure that's for bringing up your specific driver driver profile.
Sense. You still need the key.
Yeah, you do. The other thing, so this touch bar here for the infotainment shortcuts. Kia still gives you physical shortcuts.
Yeah.
And I like this.
I like how they implemented this. Yeah,
it's very well integrated into the trim here. It kind of reminds me of the Aria as well. And I really like that setup in this thing here. In that thing
just
too.
like it's a matte, like textured, almost metallic, woody kind of just flat piece of trim.
Yeah.
That has capacitive controls embedded into it.
Yeah.
And it looks really nice.
It looks nice. It works well. Mm-hmm. It gives you haptic feedback, so you actually know what you're pressing.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I'm like, when I'm searching for a specific radio station or punching something into CarPlay, like I'm trying to scroll through Spotify or punching in an address, I usually rest my fingers like on the touchpad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And to sort of brace my hand while I'm punching things into the
now you're hitting those shortcuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I'm on CarPlay, I'm punching the map button or the search button or the setup button. It's like, what the fuck am I pulling up?
Yeah.
The setup when I just want to change the whatever radio station I'm listening to. It also kind of sucks that this thing loses the tuning knob, which most other Kias have.
Yeah.
Such is life. The other very minor nitpick, this being the upgraded infotainment layout, you do have that little HVAC, that climate controlled screen in the middle of both displays. It's a little, I don't know what to make of it. I feel like
it's kind of hard to see because from the driver's seat, so everything is housed on one big ultra wide style housing, kind of like what everyone else is.
Everyone else does it.
And this has 3 screens built into it. So the one directly in front of you is a cluster, the one on the far side is the infotainment, and there's a smaller one in the middle. It's about the size of a phone that is just for climate control.
Yeah.
And it is positioned just so to be blocked by the steering wheel.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the driver's seat.
Yeah.
In the passenger seat, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's quite a reach if your passenger wants to fucking play with the modes or whatever. But at the same time, Kia does give you a bit of redundancy in that you have another row of climate control.
Yeah, you have temperature and fan
right below.
Yeah, that are physical rocker switches that are actually nice.
Yeah.
There's everything wrong with this is a baby nitpick.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I'm nitpicking, and if I can also nitpick one more thing, the position of the power button being on the shifter stalk takes you a second to find it. But again, these are incredibly pedantic nitpicks that literally anyone buying this car would get used to them within 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, so you complained about this. Addy called you to complain about it.
Well,
because he couldn't turn the thing off.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm usually the curmudgeon that can't find anything in new cars, and it's right there.
Yeah.
Because you can see it right through the hole in the steering wheel.
Yeah. So my problem was because the steering wheel was turned when I picked this thing up, I couldn't see it. So I was like, "What the fuck is the?
Oh yeah.
What am I? Oh, there it is."
Ergonomically, it makes sense because you get in, you're going to be on the shifter stalk anyway. So it's right there.
Yeah. Do you notice this thing actually gives you a bit of haptic feedback whenever you shift it into reverse?
Oh yeah.
Just buzzes, the steering wheel buzzes ever so slightly, just to let you know that you're in reverse.
You've selected reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's smart detail touches.
Aside from very, very pedantic nitpicking, this thing is actually really competent, and this nitpicking just goes to show you how well executed this thing is, by and large.
Yeah.
This is a much better way to spend $70,000 as opposed to spending it on something like an Aria or our other EV testers.
Yeah, because the Aria was about the same as this, right?
Yeah, and while that was pretty nice by and large, the charging experience just
complete letdown.
Killed that thing for me.
Yeah, makes it unusable.
Yeah, and this thing is such a better way to spend $70,000.
Yeah, it's bigger. It's, I don't want to say nicer because the Nissan was nice, but it's at least as nice. I like the layout on this.
Charging isn't a pain in the ass.
Charging is actually really fast. You get way more performance. You just get so much more for the same money. It's man.
Yeah.
Sucks.
But by and large, it's aside from minor nitpicking, aside from that minor nitpicking, this is a really well thought out product.
Yeah.
And it's also not the only EV we have this week.
No, because I am in the new, air quotes, new Volvo EX40. So with Volvo having rolled out the EX90 flagship full-size electric SUV, they have restructured their naming convention, kind of like everyone else has sort of done, to suit a broad spread of electric vehicles. So all the electrics now are suffixed EX. Yep. So the EX90 is the big one. The EX30, which we have coming up, I think next week, if my memory serves, is their new little baby model. Yep. And the problem is that they already had an electric vehicle in the lineup in the XC40 Recharge.
Yes.
And they have rebranded that existing XC40 as an EX40.
Yes.
To fit in their new electric lineup.
However, Recharge
yeah.
is still around because they're still using that to call the XC60 and the XC90 PHEVs.
Yes, so it's a little convoluted because of where they were, but where they are now makes more sense. EX means electric, Recharge means plug-in.
Yes.
Whereas before it was kind of like, wait, what? And now it's okay, straight and narrow.
And don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure with the XC90 refresh coming up, the 2025.5s.
Yep.
The plug-in versions, the plug-in version is now simply called PHEV.
I don't know.
Don't quote me on that. I'm like,
I hope not. You guys just got the naming right. I hope not.
So, it's a little convoluted.
But yeah. So that, I mean, I don't think there's any new changes to it.
Aside from the name.
And I think new paint, like the sand dune, like the nice, actually really nice, like metallic pearlescent, for lack of a better word, beige.
Yep.
That they rolled out on the EX90, is on my press car. Is on this EX40.
It does look very nice.
It looks nice.
It looks quite warm.
Yep. It is very warm.
I'm not usually a fan of beige, but right now with everything being
But it's not beige. Like, you think beige, right? And you like beige is sad. This is more like a probably the most pedantic thing I've brought up on this podcast. It's not beige. It's a light brown. It's a khaki. It's a very it's a bright khaki.
It's beige.
No, it's brown. It's different.
It's fucking beige.
Beige is more yellow.
God damn it. Okay.
I like it.
What do you think of the car? It's been a couple of days. What do you think of it so far?
Tiny bit disappointed because I was hoping with the rebranding that they would get some updates like Volvo's new infotainment that they've rolled out on the EX90 and the EX30. So I was hoping they'd bring that in line by maybe tweaking that. It's not. It's the old Android-based system.
Is the new system like the more or less the same system in the Polestars, like in the Polestar 2?
Similar, but not the same. Not the same. And it actually works very, very well.
I really liked it in the Polestar 2 a couple years ago.
The Polestar 2 is one of the best infotainments I've ever used. Yeah. It's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
This is not that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the one we don't like that's half Census, half Android, and they don't talk to each other.
I kind of like it.
It's not bad. But they had it better a few years ago, and they have it much better now.
Interesting. Okay.
Like, much better now. Like, the you haven't seen it yet, but the new system on the EX90 that they are rolling out across the line is actually, like, the best. It's fucking incredible.
Interesting. Okay.
This ain't that. So I was hoping to see that. It's not there. I don't think there's any other tweaks. I like it. It's very nice. There's lots of room, and it drives great. I have a massive heart-on for every Volvo press car we have. I love them. I struggle a little bit with this one, not because it does anything wrong. So mine's decked. It's loaded. It's their Ultra trim. That includes Harman Kardon audio and Pro Pilot Assist, adaptive cruise, and pano roof, and this, that, and the kitchen sink, and everything else, and the bigger battery. Or no, I think there's only one battery size. And the dual motors, so it's all-wheel drive and very fast. And it is very fast. It drives very, very well.
Yep.
And I think max 476 kilometers of range, which is quite healthy.
the numbers are competitive.
Yeah, the numbers are quite competitive, except the one that people care about,
which we'll get into, because this is actually the perfect segue into my press car last week.
Yes. So why don't you tell us about your press car?
I had the quote unquote coupe version of your car. So last week we had the Volvo EC40, which if you recall, that used to be called the C40. But now, as Nathan mentioned, in this whole push towards
having a separate electric line,
exactly, it is now called the EC40.
Right.
So, Cliff's Notes: the C40 becomes the EC40,
and the XC40
Recharge becomes the EX40.
Right.
Because the regular XC40 is still around.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Oh God.
Now, I too really enjoyed the EC40 as a car-shaped car.
Yeah.
It is so fast. Oh my God. That thing is a fucking rocket off the line.
It's so fast. But like it's not even about fast. Fast EV is fast, whatever, not news. But like it drives really well.
It does.
And it feels nice.
Yeah.
It feels normal.
Yeah. And everything you mentioned with what the average consumer perceives as refinement is also there in the EX and the EC40s.
Yeah.
Everything feels great. Everything feels solid. It's quiet. It's quieter than a church on the highway.
Why is a church on the highway? Who's driving a church on the highway, Nick?
It's quiet as a church. Oh God.
Why are you towing a church?
Fine. You know what? I'll do better with my metaphors next time.
Can you imagine the wind noise if you were towing a church on a highway and you're sitting in the church?
That would be pretty.
It'd be ominous.
Yeah.
So it's not that.
So
it's just very quiet.
It's extremely quiet. It feels very solid. And you know what? I kind of like the infotainment. I feel like if you've used any sort of tablet at any point in your life, it will take you like 2 minutes to get used to Volvo's infotainment.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I personally like it.
I you know what? I think it's very close to being very good.
Mm-hmm.
There's just little reskinning things that they say they're going to push out over the air. I think, from what I recall. From what I recall, every existing Volvo will be updated to the new Android-based system.
Yes.
Which is great.
Yeah.
As it is right now, it's usable. It's fine. It's just like there's certain interface things. Like when you're on the main Volvo Sensus home screen, it looks really nice. But you actually want to bring up anything to do, you go to the Google screen, which is like it's a different font. It's kind of low res. Like it's not calibrated for the screen. There's just like little detail shit that Volvo usually doesn't miss on. And it's weird that they missed on that.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Some of the menu structure is a little difficult to read.
Yeah, it's just like it's not cohesive. It's like there's two different interfaces in there.
Yeah, and some of their font choices, like it's kind of it's just hard to read some of the inputs there.
But from what I recall, should be getting updated. So that's fine.
The other thing I noticed, I thought Volvo was supposed to like push out wireless CarPlay. Because my EC40 last week, it had wired but not wireless CarPlay.
That I can't speak to.
I totally thought that wireless was coming in an update, if not already here.
I don't know. I remember hearing that about some vehicles. I don't remember which. You if anyone who's listened to this regularly knows, I don't use any of that shit because I hate it. I hate it with a burning fiery passion, so I don't pay attention to that. I remember hearing something about that. I think it might have been on the EX90s. I don't remember.
That was a while ago too. The other thing I picked up on with my EC40, and I'm not sure if you observed this yet with the EX40. When I'm on the highway, ProPilot Assist switched on. Normally this is a very good...
ProPilot's usually very good, and I haven't used it on mine yet, so I can't speak to it.
Right. It's usually a very good system, very confident. It's smooth, it's confident, it picks up it works well. The one thing I noticed with mine last week was with ProPilot on, the steering wheel, literally it would move left and right very subtly.
Like it's constantly rocking back and forth just a tiny bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a very, very, very slight rocking, which I hadn't observed in any other Volvo until this particular one.
I have not seen
with
that.
ProPilot.
I will have to test and report back because I
Yes.
have not seen that. And I would like it. I've seen that in some vehicles, like the Subaru Outback I had a couple weeks ago did that.
Yeah.
Just because it is such a big ass swaying around. Yeah, I've not seen that in a Volvo. It's usually like one of the better systems out there. And so it's odd that it was kind of hunting around like that. Was it like wandering or just like a little side to side thing?
It's just like very, very little side to side. It wasn't wandering much. And and the steering wheel, because there's like some play baked into it, it didn't actually make the car sway.
Right.
But it did make the steering wheel like sway. So when you're on the highway, you're like your hands like moving very subtly, and it's kind of fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But again, not a big deal breaker. My biggest deal breaker with that car was observed range in the cold.
Right. So I was not in town when you had that. So what kind of cold are we talking about?
About -5 degrees.
Okay, so like
not
cold,
that
but
cold, dude.
Not bitter. Yeah,
It's not that cold.
very standard Toronto winter cold.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Definitely not as cold as this week is, but
yeah. Tackle one in front of that.
yeah,
It's
God.
cold.
Yeah. Last week wasn't even that cold, but fuck, dude, the best I could get out of that thing was like a smidge over 200 kilometers on a single charge. And that was with like
Really?
2 charge cycles.
That's weird. Okay, so on mine, I picked it up with about 80%, and this morning I rolled into the office at about 62. I covered, I think, 60 kilometers. So the range estimate computer thingamajig on Volvo EVs is very, well, not even EVs, on the gases it's like this too.
Yeah.
It looks at your current use pattern and extrapolates that to however much juice is left, whether it's literal juice or electricity.
Yep.
So-
Juice? What kind of literal juice? Like
Gasoline.
apple juice? Oh, okay.
Yeah, not apple juice. Gasoline.
Okay.
If you left it long enough, it might ferment to something you can burn.
Ooh.
But I was referring to gasoline.
I see.
Anyway, so when I picked it up, it showed, I think, 80% estimated range, 200 kilometers, with the disclaimer, like, low ambient temperatures will affect range.
Yep.
When I pulled into work this morning at like 62%, it showed 200 kilometers. So I think, like, I've been dragging the average energy use down
Yeah.
at a linear rate with the actual energy consumption.
Okay.
So the projected range right now doesn't mean anything because it's been like dragging itself down the same way
Interesting.
because it hasn't moved. It's like it went up to 220 and then it's kind of gone back down very slowly since. So I can't speak to projected range yet. It's not bad. I mean, to flip it around, I had to, it's done 2 cold warm-up starts, which isn't quite the same as a gas car, but it still has to heat the cabin, which uses a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So between that and like 60 kilometers driving, mostly highway, which is, suboptimal for an EV, it's lost about 20%. I think it lost like 1 or 2% overnight. Not bad.
Yeah.
Like, actually not bad. I was worried I would come back to it and find it dead.
How the hell could our experiences be so different in basically the same car?
Well, you had a week to analyze it, and I've had half a day.
I guess. Well, okay, fair. But like, okay, so with the EC40,
Yeah.
I picked up that thing with a 90% charge.
Yep.
The range readout was at... The range estimate was at about 290 kilometers.
Okay.
2 days later,
Yep.
I plug in at the office. Empty battery. I squeezed out 170-ish kilometers. Yeah. 170, 180 kilometers out of the first charge.
Yeah.
Which was certifiably not great. And I just drove that thing normally, dude. I was like, I do a lot of, my commute is all highway, but at the same time, I did have a bit of stop and go to to sort of put some juice back into the battery through regen.
Mm-hmm.
But that just strikes me as particularly egregious.
I mean,
it's a big loss.
I think that goes back to the way Volvo does their range computers, though, too, right? Because it's counting on you owning the vehicle and having regular use habits. Right. So we saw the opposite with me, where it was showing a very poor average and extracting that, and for you, it probably saw a very good average from the prior usage when it was warm.
Yep.
And building data based on that.
Right. That makes sense.
I think we need to, especially with Volvo, it's got to look more just at the actual just energy state of charge indication.
Yeah.
And so going off that, I lost about 20-ish% in about 60 kilometers. So you stretch that out. That's about right. Probably also wouldn't be great, but it's minus 15. These things are struggling.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. For what it's worth, with my second charge with the EC40, I got it was a lot easier to squeeze 200 out of that thing. Mm-hmm. I think I got 210, 220 out of the second charge, which is better, but still not great. It's about half of what you can expect out of their posted
what you can expect
numbers.
Under optimum conditions, which I mean, it's a weird thing. It's kind of a weird apology to make, because especially it's Volvo. They're based out of Sweden. They do most of their testing north of the Arctic Circle.
You would think they would know a thing or two about driving cars in the cold, especially electric cars.
And they do. When you look at some of the engineering that goes into their gas cars, you can see it.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, there's only so much you can do with this tech. Mm-hmm. Batteries are affected by cold. Efficiency goes down. We're done. That's it. Mm-hmm. The only way to get that efficiency back is to spend energy to warm the battery, which spends energy. You can't win.
Yeah.
These things, whether it's made by Rivian, based out of California, or Volvo, based out of Sweden, they can't fucking do this stuff. They can. It's doing it, and it's kind of nice, right? It was nice to get into my Volvo this morning, and it came up the temp really fast, mm-hmm. and there was no cold car fanaticisms where they're thrashy and unhappy and the steering stiff. It's just fine. They don't care. They actually they feel as though they're impervious to cold, but the actual capability of what they can do tends to just fall off a fucking cliff.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I definitely got that with the EC40.
Yeah, but it goes back to, it really depends on your use case. I don't think you or I would ever recommend any electric vehicle to anybody who doesn't have the ability to charge at home.
Exactly.
You just don't. If you can't do it, don't.
Yeah.
And then it comes back to, okay, so you're plugging this thing in overnight. And I noticed on mine, it picks up a charge pretty quick on the mm-hmm. 50 watt, 50 amp level 2 charger we have at work. It's not mm-hmm. great, and it's picking up a charge pretty quick out of that, even in these conditions where it's using so much energy to keep the battery warm.
Yeah.
Did you see the same?
I did. The charging with the EC40 versus the Aria, and I'm comparing those two by virtue of they're both similarly priced EVs.
Yeah.
Also, we had them more or less back to back.
Yeah. And it was warm when we had your Aria.
Yeah. That's the thing.
And that took days to charge.
Yeah, literally 2 days for a full charge on the level 2 at the office. The EC40, the charging in that thing is a lot more conducive to normal use cases, in that you go to the office, plug in, 9 hours later, you have a full charge again.
Yeah.
And I got that out of the EC40, and I'm probably going to get that out of the EV9 as well because this charging tech, from what I gather, the charging architecture is a lot more modern.
Yeah, a lot more modern. It can take a lot more power.
Yeah,
and it can make more out of less.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, okay, so it says max 400, in the case of my Volvo, max 475 kilometers.
Yep.
Don't know yet, but probably going to see realistically half that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a disappointing hit, but whatever. And that roughly tracks with even like the Ioniq 5 I had last year, right? The base Ioniq 5 I had last year. And we computed roughly about a 40-ish% loss because it was also bitter, nasty cold that week.
I remember that because
so that's roughly in line, and maybe Volvo's also like deliberately being pessimistic with their range. Like they see cold and go, okay, we're fucked, and maybe there's more to be had in there. Maybe they're trying to be like pragmatic about it, which I wouldn't put past them. Nick, what was I talking about? Volvo charging.
Volvo's being pragmatic charging.
But yeah, so max 480. Say you lose half of that, so 2 and change. How often are you doing more than that in a day? And if you're doing more than that in a day, even in the summer, like ideally, like you're probably not buying an EV.
Probably not.
Yeah. So, not the end of the world. Just something to think about.
Yeah. Did you? Speaking of like
there was a talk about running an errand from Oakville to Newmarket today, which would have been about 150 kilometers round trip.
Yeah. And
there was a question of, okay, we can do that in either of our press cars.
Yep.
But by the time we get back to the office, I don't think we'd be able to get home.
Neither of us would have had enough juice to get home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which wouldn't, like, in May wouldn't be a problem, but is a problem right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This just dawned on me when you mentioned Volvo knows a thing or two about calibrating their cars for cold weather.
Yeah.
Have you noticed yet in your EX40 how hot the steering wheel gets?
Oh, the steering wheel is
ferocious. My god, dude!
Yeah. Like borderline uncomfortable. It's hot.
Yeah. Oh, I fucking love it. Jeez. I think that's probably. I would say that's probably the hottest heated steering wheel ever.
Like they've set it up so you can feel it through thick gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. I fucking love it.
It's ridiculously hot.
Yeah.
Which has been very nice when I'm out trying to shoot it this week and I get frozen in a few minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you notice in yours, it wasn't as cold, but this morning when I got into mine, it took like a full minute and a half for the infotainment screen to boot. It was just black.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. I think it was like really struggling with the cold. Like the car started and drove fine, but like I had no screen for a full minute.
Huh. I didn't notice that one.
I had a cluster, but no screen.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. In fact, a lot of people bitch about like bugs and glitches with Volvo infotainment. I didn't notice anything in the EC40 last week.
I've never encountered a infotainment bug in a Volvo running that software. I just don't love it, but it's fine. It's usable.
Yeah.
I've never encountered a bug. I've encountered the odd reliability quirk, but I haven't seen that in mine.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, but
I like it. The only issue, can we talk about this now?
Yes.
The only issue is, which is why I was kind of floored when you said this very large Kia SUV is $70,000. It's because both of our Volvos, which admittedly are very nice and very fast and have good competitive electricity things like range and charging and stuff, are $10,000 additional dollars for considerably less physical vehicle.
Yes. So mine was the EC40 Black Edition.
Mm-hmm.
That one tops out at about 75, 76 before destination taxes.
Yeah.
So factor everything in, you're probably looking at like 80-ish on the road.
Yeah, and mine is 79 and change before destination delivery, all that shit we always leave out.
Before? Like 79 before?
No, 75.
Oh, okay.
75.
Okay,
yeah. So pretty much exactly the same as yours.
Yeah. On par.
Mine just shy of 80 on the road.
Yeah. Mine was the Mine was the black edition, so it's basically the Ultra plus all black everything.
Yeah.
Harman Kardon, nice seats.
Yeah.
Dual motor.
It is lovely.
It is.
It is lovely. The issue I have with it is that it's about a like $18,000 delta between a comparably equipped XC40 like gasser.
Yep.
And I think, for like low mid 60s for a loaded XC40, that's still tall but compelling because it is a nice luxury vehicle that drives great and handles great and looks and like just feel. I've loved the way Volvo does shit. Like they just look and feel really nice. That makes sense to me. This at 80. This is if I'm sitting in it. The EX40 at 80 doesn't, especially when at this point, at that price point, you're not far from an EX90. You're like you're like another year of payments away from an EX90.
Yeah.
Or I actually don't know what the pricing is yet, but the new EX30. And that makes a lot more sense to me. I'm assuming it'll be about the same or less as this. But that is whereas the EX40 is an XC40, which is an adapted platform that has to do many things.
Yep.
The EX30 is a brand new ground up electric only platform that will have more modern charging and more power and a bigger battery and more interior room and the new infotainment.
Yep.
And
probably less of a cold weather delta with range.
Probably. That remains to be seen. But either way, like I struggle with that. Would be smaller.
Yep.
But I can't see by very much because it's a dedicated electric platform. They can reallocate, say, like the trans tunnel floor.
Yep.
The engine bay, the rear cargo. Like they can reallocate the space to make more room out of a smaller package.
Yep.
And better charging and better tech and and like a newer face for the same or less money.
Yeah.
Like I struggle to make a case for the EX40.
And that's too bad because it's otherwise a really competitive small luxury crossover.
Yeah, it's nice. It's lovely. I don't know who it's for. With the other two very competitive Volvos that surround it, I don't know who it's for.
Plus, this thing meaning the Kia EV9, costing as much as it is and offering a lot more car
vehicle. And like it's not as nice.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
Yeah.
This is not a bad place to sit.
Not at all.
Everything feels fine. Like, so it's kind of like where'd the money go sort of thing. And I kind of get where it went because it's a legacy platform and you're trying to amortize all your R&D costs for all your electric vehicles across the range evenly so that you have like a semi-linear pricing structure. I get it. It's just in the case of the EX40, it really targets it.
Yeah.
So unless there's a lot of like manufacturer incentives where they leave a lot of cash on the hood to get them out the door, I don't see a strong case for them. Like not a bad car, just ruined by its own stablemates.
I think so. Yeah. And like I'll also add, I think Volvo did a pretty good job adapting that gas car architecture to an EV because despite all the EC40 and EX40's foibles, like they still managed to squeeze a frunk into there.
Yeah.
And it isn't a tiny frunk, it's a pretty usable frunk too.
Yeah, like it's a good vehicle, but it was a good vehicle, 6-7 years ago?
Yeah. And
they've since updated the rest of their product line around it.
Yeah.
And now it's starting to suffer.
Yeah. So we will see. I guess we'll finally put this matter to bed next week when we
have an EX30.
Yeah.
And see how much better that is, if at all, how much smaller it is, et cetera, et cetera. That's going to be interesting to see. I'm very curious about that one.
Yeah. And that actually pretty much takes us to the end of this week's episode.
Well, we got a couple more cars we can squeeze in, I think.
Yeah. We have
48 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Okay. So
last week we were supposed to talk about some of the cars we had over the Christmas break, and we did not because we got too far into the discussion about car of the year.
Yep.
Because there was much bickering.
Yes.
As is custom.
As always.
But over the break, I had a very unusual BMW. And
it was kind of a revelation.
It was a revelation. It was unusual in the sense that and Nick, you've heard this before because you read my review. But it was unusual in the sense that all the BMWs we get, we always talk about, like, you know what, for 110 grand, there's actually a lot of car here, because if you look at what Mercedes or Audi or whatever are doing, like, there's a lot of vehicle here, great value for 110 grand, but there's always that, like, tongue-in-cheek, stupid, out of touch, like, who the fuck has 110 grand? Get out of here. The thing is an entire Honda's worth of options on it. Like, get out. Yeah. So it was, the BMW I had was an unusual vehicle because it was a base model car.
Yes.
It was 65 grand.
Wow.
So it starts at 58, and it had the premium pack that includes adaptive cruise and a pano roof and, like, actual niceties you would expect on a luxury product that help set it apart. But beyond that, no M Sport of any kind. I think it's the only BMW I've ever seen that didn't have any M badges on it. No pretension of being interesting or fast or anything like that. It was just the base 4-cylinder compact crossover. And I fucking loved it.
And that car compact crossover was...
Didn't I say?
Did you?
It's a BMW X3.
Oh.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if I did or not. Okay. Now we know. It's a BMW X3.
Yep.
They're compact crossover, and it's fucking very good. Ridiculously good.
So when I took it around the block, and you were with me riding shotgun, after you pointed out the seamlessness of the auto start stop, that's the one thing that still sticks with me, and that's the one thing I just could not pick up when it did its thing.
Yeah. It's so seamless.
Fucking imperceptible.
Yeah. It's the same magic that I was praising in the $180,000 Mercedes S580.
Yep.
In a base model 4-cylinder powertrain. I expected this to suck, because the base 4-cylinder powertrain in these things always sucks.
Yep.
And this doesn't. It sounds the part. It's kind of a fake sound, but it sounds the part. It moves.
It does.
It moves really well.
Yeah.
I can't even remember, 7, 8 liters per 100 over the course of 2 weeks. It dipped down to 6.5 on highway trips. Like, the thing is crazy efficient. And it is as refined as the absolute best powertrains in the fucking business.
Yep.
And base model, like, this is where you're starting with.
I buy all of that.
Yeah. It's so impressive. And, like, I don't love the design language on the thing.
I don't mind it.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
And BMW is very smart so as not to apply the big sniff to its actual volume sellers.
Its core high volume vehicles,
yeah. So the new X3 doesn't get it. It
gets a pretty large sniff, but not the big sniff.
It's not oversized. It also follows the same sort of kind of
like abstract flame surfacey sort of thing as the 5.
Yeah, that's I didn't want to call it slab-sided, but it definitely had much fewer lines than BMW normally would.
Yeah, I almost think more lines, like actual lines, increases and less curvature.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't mind the front end.
I don't hate it. Like,
it works.
I think the problem is that the outgoing X3 is a very good looking vehicle.
Yeah.
But this has tons of room.
Yep.
Like, it's a compact, and it has, like, a huge back seat, tons of cargo room.
Yep.
It's iDrive 9, which is not my favorite, but still among the best in the industry.
You had some point of contentions with it, which is
well, because they separated the Sirius XM app. So, like, one of the things I loved about old iDrive, not even old, iDrive 8, that you can still buy in most of their lineup, is when you go to the radio app, you have a whole list of channels that's right there, and you can flick through them super fast with the iDrive knob. So I can go from channel 1 to 400 in like a flick of the wrist, and it's lovely. And I can quickly dial and go to Conan O'Brien Radio that I always listen to immediately. And when they cut to commercial, I can flip the channel 35 and listen to the indie station for a bit. And I can do that now without having to go on and set presets.
Yep.
And they broke that.
Oh, God.
So I have to go like menu, categories, all channels, bring it up, and I have to do that every fucking time. And
That's annoying, actually.
Just like, why? You had this right.
Yep.
You were doing it right, and now you've broken it.
Yeah.
Change for change's sake. But other than that, drives great, handles great, rides really well, super quiet, tons of room. Like, actually, hardly anything to complain about. Amazing value, incredible refinement. And I think, because at that price point, right, you're at the 65 of mine, and it had like all the things you'd expect to see on a BMW, like, I can't remember what they call it now, Pilot, Drive Pilot, Drive Assist Pro, whatever it is. It had the park assist thing where it'll back itself up down a driveway into a parking spot. It had all the cool tricks you would expect in a luxury car like a BMW, and offered at a price point that's encroaching on the upper crust Mazda, Toyota, Honda products.
Yeah.
So like they're deliberately trying to like conquest. Let's go hunting. Let's woo these people.
Steal those brands back. Okay. I think we both know how much you particularly enjoy Mazda's new inline 6 and the CX-90 and the CX-70. So, the $65,000 question. Are you still going for a CX-90/CX-70 signature? Or are you bringing it back to the badge?
I haven't driven one of those in a long time. We had the CX-70 last year. I didn't drive it. I haven't driven one since mine. 2 years ago.
Did you know? I shot it. That's why I didn't drive it.
I haven't driven it.
Fuck.
So I would have to revisit it because I remember liking it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember thinking, like, this isn't perfect. You can feel it's kind of the first effort with this. The trouble is, next to a CX-90, the X3 offers nearly as much room, if not more. It handles, I think, about as well. It rides better. The powertrain is significantly more refined. Won't perform as well, but nearly as well. Better fuel economy.
Yeah,
like, buddy, it's tough.
I buy that. I will say,
like, recency bias, I go for the X3. I'd love to revisit the Mazda, but like, man, the X3 punches hard for its weight class.
Absolutely.
For its price point.
I think the only thing that might sway me back into a CX-70 or a CX-90 signature for the money would be the interior appointments.
They're
like,
really
for
nice.
$65,000, that thing feels like $1 million versus the X3's interior. I wasn't so hot on it.
You can. It's kind of like we were talking about with this Kia. Like, if you know what you're looking for, you'll find the cost cutting.
Yeah. By and large, it looked and felt very nice.
Yeah, but all the touch points are nice.
Yeah. They've
just simplified it and made it mostly about the screen, and the screen is nice. But they have simplified it quite a bit. It's a lot less ornate.
Yeah.
I don't love the interior design language, but like, it's like really ornate stitching in the seats and stuff, and mood lighting, and the giant panel roof, like shit you expect in something with that badge.
Yeah.
It's not nice, but the CX-90, CX-70 are more like, ooh,
fuzzy. Everything is fuzzy Alcantara,
which I also don't think is going to wear very well, which is a point for BMW, right? So
Alcantara
it's kind of
never does wear well.
Yeah, like Alcantara dash pad, like, come on, what do you like? Looks beautiful, especially like in the light beigey color they have, like beautiful. But I don't know how well that's gonna last. So I think I do the BMW, man.
Interesting.
It's actually really, really good.
Huh.
And the powertrain is so impressive at that price point. Like, it's witchcraft.
I will say, for among base four cylinder powertrains, like, that is probably the best one out there.
Probably
in the luxury space.
Yeah, it's so good. And even like, so John this week has a 330i, which I think has been updated with the same powertrain. Neither of us drove it very much, but like, it's a 3. We know we like it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, the chassis is fantastic.
Yeah, now with this updated mild hybrid, like B48 2-popper 4-cylinder engine, 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, and it's that same imperceptible start-stop, very smooth, very slick, good pickup, great fuel economy in the sedan package. Like, it just, they don't miss.
There it is, folks.
Yeah,
they just don't miss unless it's
radio controls. It's like, don't fuck with a good thing, but whatever.
Yeah. What else do we have over the break? Okay, real quick over the break. We also had the 2025 Kicks.
Yep.
I had that. I'm not going to get too deep into it because we already focused on it in
October,
a previous episode when you
Yep.
did the launch.
Yep.
I will say this. They did a very good job consolidating the Qashqai and the Kicks into one nameplate.
Yeah.
Because now the Qashqai is ostensibly dead.
Yeah.
Kicks gains all-wheel drive. It's not particularly quick,
No.
but I will say, for a commuter car, what more do you need?
Yeah, it's nice. It drives well. It drives quite well.
Well built.
Everything feels nice.
Yep.
Like they did their homework. It drives great. The only thing that kind of threatens it is that for about the same money, the Seltos offers a turbo engine.
Yep.
And power seats and a power liftgate.
Yeah. So
And it's bigger.
yeah.
Kind of struggles a little.
Yeah. I don't think at the $35K price point. So we had the SR, the SR Premium, I think.
Yeah, it's loaded.
Decked. 35, 36-ish. I think the sweet spot is the mid-level trims with all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Because that puts you at about 30 grand. You still get the same very, very roomy interior. You still get all-wheel drive. You still get auto climate. You're still at manual seats, but for under 30 grand, it's passable.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a good commuter car. Good commuter car with personality.
It is.
I think it looks cool. A lot of
Ours was yellow. That's
it
great.
Was yellow. It was very yellow.
Very yellow.
With like the two-tone roof, like they look neat, right? Like a lot of these, like they're trying to appeal to the youth buyer.
Yep.
Who's probably not going to buy it because the youth are destitute.
Exactly.
But it's got some personality to it.
It does.
It drives well.
It does. Surprisingly good evolution of the Kicks nameplate.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good entry into the subcompact crossover class.
Yeah. And then John had the Cadillac CT5, a relatively base Cadillac CT5, so their mid-size sedan over the break that I drove very briefly yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fucking brilliant. Actually, fucking brilliant.
Yep.
It's really good.
And that's the base engine too.
Yeah. It's like, I remember really disliking that engine. The last time I drove it, I can't remember if it was CT4 or CT5, that 2.7 liter turbo 4, and I've made the same complaint in the trucks. It just
It's not
sounds and feels kind of like shit.
It's actually not the 2.7, it's the 2.0.
Really?
Yep.
Really? So it's not the truck engine.
It's the base 2.0 2-liter turbo 4 because I think they again, don't quote me on this, but for the very mild 2025 refresh, they did shuffle the powertrain. So when I was playing with the configurator, the CT5 Sport, you can only get it with the 2-liter turbo 4.
Right.
But the premium luxury,
Right.
I'm fairly certain you can do either the turbo 4 or the 3-liter V6.
Right. Which is a nice engine.
Yes.
Okay, but either way, this base 4-cylinder felt great. Didn't sound agricultural, thrashy, coarse like I've complained about with other GM 4-cylinders.
Mm-hmm.
Chassis brilliant, handles amazing, drives great, rides great. The interior is really nice because updated with like the same kind of dash center console layout as the Escalade.
Yep,
which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The facelift is nice. There's updated lighting elements, bunch of little tweaks just to make it look more fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I think how much did you built it? How much is it? Do you remember? I'm probably stretching a bit because I didn't look at all. I just drove it and liked it.
You're stretching. I don't remember.
Okay, that's fair. Well, yeah, I think it was brilliant. I really liked it.
How much? I don't know. God. Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically all we missed.
Yeah,
I think we're more
or less caught up at this point.
Yeah.
And now we can move on and talk about other cool stuff as it comes in over the course of the year.
That's right. And at the same time, we've actually run out of things to talk about.
Yep, I think we're dead. Okay.
Cool.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
It has been a slice as usual. Next week we will probably not be in a mobile podcasting studio because, hopefully the construction in the office will be done by then.
Yeah.
Either way, if you all wish to keep tabs on our automotive misadventures, you can do so at doubleclutch.ca on socials. Really looking forward to seeing how the EX30 stacks up next week against Volvo's legacy EVs, but we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, tune in to find out, guys.
All right. See everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And last but not least, thanks for listening, Nathan's mom.